Thank you for remaining with us, ladies and gentlemen. You're still watching Financial Markets, and my name is Anthony, and I am your host. Remember, you can catch the show on YouTube right now at Smart24 TV Live, or you can go to GoTV channel 394 or our free-to-air decoder channel as well. Follow the conversations on Twitter, and you can also follow us on Facebook as well, on all social media platforms, and also visit our website www.smart24tv.com. And of course today, as I said, we are going to have Mr. Victor Ntawagahumwe, who is a legal scholar, but specializing in, of course, fintechs, and looking at also these digital currencies with a very critical eye. And we're talking about the benefits, we're talking about how it works for investors, for the regulators in the, that is the money space, and also other people that are key players in the cryptocurrency sector. So if you are an enthusiast of crypto, please stay around. Very soon we are going to have that as well. But let's still have a look at the stock market and see this particular performance for yesterday's markets. Now, when we take a look at the all-share index, remember the all-share index monitors or tracks the performance of all the listed equities. We are talking about the 10 locally listed companies and the 8 cross-listed companies from Nairobi. This particular all-share index went up by 12.48 points, and we crossed the 1,300 line, and currently it stands at 1,308. And if you can see the graph of the all-share index there on your screen, you will see that we are now past the 1,300 mark, and of course we haven't crossed that line since the month of around April, when we last saw this particular point reach, this particular index reach 1,300 points. And yes, that was a 0.96% daily gain, but when we look at 1 week ago, we are seeing a gain of about 5.25%. And when we look at 4 weeks ago, that's exactly 1 month ago, we are seeing a 12.53% weekly gain as well. But on overall, when we look at the year-to-date performance of the all-share index, looking back on that graph, if you can just trace where January is between the month of December and February, we still have lost about 7.87%. That is from around 1,400 points. If you just monitor that curve slightly between December 21st and December 2021 and February 2022, you will see that the index was at around 1,400 points. But right now at 1,300, we are still on a loss of about 7.87%. But still looking at the daily performance, looking at the weekly performance of the index, and also looking at maybe 4 week performance, we are seeing that there is some hope. And of course, we hope this trend will continue to go up. Definitely this was influenced by, number one, the movement to the positive direction of most of the cross-listed stocks. Looking at KCB, looking at companies like East African Breweries, who have been gaining on a daily since last week, if you've been monitoring the stock markets. And of course, this has influenced how this index has moved in particular. For example, when you look at the stock for the KCB stock, if you look at the KCB stock there, you will see that actually this particular stock has moved in a positive direction for quite some time. You can see since the end of the month of July, 31st around now 1st of August, we're seeing a particular rise in the stock prices for this particular stock. And they're rising rapidly. Look at that daily gain for KCB. 30.93 Ugandan shillings on a daily gain. And that was a 2.37% gain to over a price of 1,335.73. That is some significant gain there for these cross-listed. Now, when you look at East African Breweries Limited as well, this is one of the oldest breweries in East Africa. That is to say, you're looking at that curve there, a very sharp increase in prices there, from over 4,000 shillings just about 2 weeks ago, actually, matter of fact. About 2.5 weeks ago, we were trading at about 4,000, even below 4,000, to around 3,800, 3,700. To right now, we are talking prices of 5,000 Ugandan shillings. And that is on a daily gain, we are seeing an 81.18 Ugandan shillings rise, which is a 1.64% gain there. Still explains why the all share index is moving up really fast. That's a drastic increase there in prices for these cross-listed companies. Right now we are speaking of 5,039.42 Ugandan shillings for every share in East African breweries. Now, but that is quite something. If you bought shares in East African breweries around 2.5 weeks ago, right now, because around that time we had prices at around 3,700, right now you would have gained a value of about 1,300. Yes, look at that. That is exactly what we are talking about here. Patient capital, of course, with financial advice, financial literacy from experts, you can be able to make money off the stock market. So the only challenge maybe we are still having with most of these cross-listed companies is that their volumes are still quite low compared to our local companies here. You're looking at volumes of MTN way above the roof. You're looking at counters like Bank of Baroda, which is the most traded stock at the moment. You're looking at counters like Stanbic Bank. They really cannot compete. These cross-listed companies cannot outcompete the domestic equities in as far as trading volumes are concerned. When you look at the volumes, really, we are seeing more movement within the domestic equities. But then when we look at the price movements, we are seeing more price movements within the cross-listed counters. These are counters like East African Breweries, Kenya Commercial Bank, and the like. And these are moving the market crazy. And of course, we are seeing that this activity has led to some significant rise in the points on the all share index. But when we look at the local companies here in Uganda, our local company index, remember we have two indices on the Uganda Securities Exchange. The number one index, which is the benchmark, and that is the one that monitors or tracks the performance of all the listed companies, is called the all share index. And this particular all share index, we've monitored its performance and we've seen how it has improved with time. But then when you look at the local company index, yesterday it increased on a daily gain of about 1.17%, closing off at 276.55 points. Yes, so on the local companies, we're seeing there was a daily gain. But when we look at the 1 week, we still have a small gain there of about 0.13%. And then when we look at a 4-week gain, we're looking at a 4-week gain of 2.7%. And a year-to-date loss of over 14.82%, of course. But now, when you look at still these gains in the weekly, in the daily for our local companies here, yes, there's a lot of hope. And of course, due to the recent market activity we have seen, as of course regards trading on counters like Stanbic, counters like MTN, counters like Bank of Baroda, are trading huge amounts of shares on the stock market. There is hope, at least for also the companies here to have a very appreciable gain on the share prices, and seeing that their share prices could go up as well. And now, as I give you this information, it's up to you to get started with your investment journey. If you have 20,000 right now, 20,000, you can buy 1,000 shares in Stanbic Bank. You just have to open the SCD account. After you've opened the SCD account, you reach out to a stockbroker. You ask them to maybe auction, to be able to look for these shares for you on the market. In about 2-3 days of settlement, you will have your shares. And then you don't know what could happen to the stock price of Stanbic. You have no idea. And this is exactly what we are talking about. Now, when you look at that stock for Stanbic, there was a slight loss. And you can see that on the overall, Stanbic Bank has lost from overprices of about 25 at the beginning of the year down to prices of 20.8 Ugandan shillings per share. And this is a significant drop in price. Even on a daily, we can see a 0.09 drop in prices there for yesterday's trading. And that was a 0.43% off the price valuation for Stanbic Bank Uganda. However, if you monitor this graph very well, the Stanbic Bank curve, you can see that it has been moving down. However, right now we can see a steady rise. Much as we are seeing that flattening out and a little bit of fluctuations, I am hoping, I have very high hopes that probably by the end of this year, we should be back at the 27 and the 26s that we have witnessed before. And that is gain, that is capital gain for you and me as shareholders in these particular companies. Stanbic Bank in particular, when we just look at it deeply here, Stanbic Bank Uganda has been listed on the exchange since the 25th of January 2007. As you can see on the screen, it trades under the ticker symbol SBU. And the international securities identification number for Stanbic Bank is UG000386. Stanbic Bank currently is the 5th most valuable stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Remember, we are counting out of the 18 listed companies, and it comes in position number 5 in terms of the most valuable stock, with the market capitalization of 1.07 trillion, which is about 4.75% of the Uganda Securities Exchange. And looking at the trading results, yesterday alone, Stanbic had a total of 25,600 shares volumes that were traded. And this is exactly the tricky bit of it. Much as we are seeing not very big movements in price in companies like Stanbic, we are seeing that they have huge volumes. You can imagine 25,000 shares in a day or on a trading session, and then with a gross turnover of over 534,400 shillings yesterday. And now the shares outstanding are about 51.2 billion, and when you multiply that, of course, by the current price of 20.88, you come to the capitalization of 1.07 trillion. Now, SBU, that is Stanbic Bank Uganda, last trading day, as we have seen, was a loss of about about 1 shilling, generally speaking, but coming to a price of 20.88 as the closing price. Now, when we see that 0.4% drop of that previous day, Stanbic Bank began the year, however, with the price of 26, like I said. And since then, when we calculate the percentage loss there, the year-to-date performance is a loss of 19.7% of the price valuation there for Stanbic Bank. And this ranks it the 13th on the USE in terms of year-to-date performance here on the market. However, your shares, of course, shareholders' worries could also still be compounded by the fact that the company has lost over 5% still of the stock value since from the date July 1st. Now, when we look exactly 1 month ago, because yesterday was 1st of August, so when we monitor still the monthly performance of the company, it is still on the losing side at about 5% off their price valuation. However, what should allay the fears of the shareholders is the fact that Stanbic Bank Uganda is the 5th most traded stock out of the 18 listed equities. It is the 5th most traded on stock. And it has over, that is depending, of course, on the past 3 months since the month of April the 25th to the month of August the 1st, yesterday. And it has traded a total volume within this period of 3 months. They have had a total volume of over 7.99 million shares that have been traded, and they're valued at exactly 177 million within 3 months. Yeah, we're talking about a company whose share price is 20 shillings. Yeah, this is exactly how you need to look at the stock market, not generally who is losing and who is gaining, and I should buy when they're losing, but look deeply into the statistics. We're talking about a company with a price of 20 shillings on average, yes, between 20 and 25 and 26 maybe somewhere, but trading a total volume of over just about 7.99 million shares, and these 7 million shares are valued at about 177 million. So if you can trade 177 million within 3 months, trading small units of 20 shillings, I think you're doing good. I think this is what we are looking for, and this is the way to go in terms of buying. If you're looking at buying, you don't just want to buy someone who is gaining maybe by price. You know, you're seeing the prices going up, but they're not having volumes traded. You're seeing very little activity of them in the market. That is not where you want your stock to be. You want your stock to be on very, very active stocks at the market. And when we look at these volumes, they also had a single day within this period of 3 months where they traded a total of over 1.7 million, which is the peak volume for this period of 3 months. And that was the 20th of May 2022. Over 1.7 million shares were transacted just on that single particular day. And that's still an indicator. The day you would want to buy a big volume, the day you would want to buy to sell a big volume, you definitely have chances. Because like I said, the stock market works the way you look at the markets that we have, the commodity markets and so on. The moment you're willing to buy, but no one is willing to sell, you're stuck. That's it. You don't have anywhere to sell your stock. You're not going to force people to buy a particular stock. You're going to have people who are willing to buy the stock at the price you're selling. That is when you can crack a deal. And this is exactly what I want you to understand before you invest. That look at, yes, the performance of the company in terms of prices, but also look at how much volumes are traded. How much within the last 3 months have we seen, how much activity has been on this counter in the last 3 months. These will give you a whole picture of exactly what you should do. But it also depends on you as an investor. If you're a long-term investor, you're looking at maybe selling these stocks maybe 5 years from now, 3 years, maybe you shouldn't be concerned. Maybe you buy your shares and then you wait for that period of time. But if you're someone who is looking at business, having business on the stock market, you must really look at the performance of these stocks in detail there. When you look at MTN Uganda, the MTN stock yesterday went up to 189 Ugandan shillings. And if you look at that graph there, that's the entire graph representing the performance of the MTN counter since the beginning of its, of course, listing, because it was listed on 6th of December. And that graph still starts on 6th of December with a price of around 200 shillings. And then you see the price drastically went down until Valentine's Day. Yes, if you can see Valentine's Day there, 14th of Feb, you see that the price hit as low as 160. I'm sure shareholders were crying, what's happening? And I'm sure that what caused that was a lack of information, lack of knowledge about the stock market. And of course, people were selling, panic selling their shares at that time. Of course, the more resilient maybe shareholders remained strong and remained with their stock. And you can see the price went up still from 160, and then you can see leveling it off at 180. Now, the most brilliant people here are those who bought stock at on Valentine's Day. They decided not to spend that money on flowers and bought stock at MTN Uganda. Look at that. From 160, we're seeing the prices move up to 180, and right now, yesterday, yesterday at 185, and just today opening the market at exactly 189, meaning they're gaining about 200 and maybe 89. You can imagine that from over that price, 20.9, sorry, not 200, because you're calculating the difference between 160 and 180. That's about 20 point something gain in prices. And these are the people that are making money on the stock market. Patience is quite important. As you can monitor that graph, yes, there was a decline in price, but then prices stabilized and they went back up. And that's exactly the time for you to sell your stock, when the prices are moving up. Let's have a brief look at the other counters on the market that did some performance. We're seeing Bank of Baroda, Uganda. Bank of Baroda, Uganda was trading at 85 Ugandan shillings. And if you look at the stock of Bank of Baroda yesterday, they traded 500 shares. This is data courtesy of the Uganda Securities Exchange. They traded 500. Another active counter there was Cipla. If you look at Cipla there at 70 Ugandan shillings, traded a total volume of 500 shares yesterday as well. MTN Uganda at 189.02 closing price, traded a total volume of over 234,825,600 shares traded. In terms of the performance of these stocks, we are seeing that the data showed a 54% decline, however, in volume, 25% decline in turnover, and the current market capitalization of the Uganda Securities Exchange is 22.5 trillion Ugandan shillings. And of course, that brings us to the end of the stock market performances there. If you're interested, of course, you can start trading. You can start buying your stock and making sure that you get some value on your stock. But of course, knowledge is very, very important before you invest. We're going to go into a quick break. Of course, when we return, we have Mr. Victor Ntabugahumwe, who is talking about crypto. He's an enthusiastic gentleman about cryptocurrency, about fintechs, and all those things. So if you are interested, please stick around. We'll be right back after this quick break.